What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Cole Rocket 21 back again with week 7 of the National Pokemon Draft League Season 20. Please don't click away. I think we may already be eliminated from playoffs this season. It's been a tough season for me. Didn't super vibe with my team at the beginning of the year. We made some changes. It feels better, but now we're facing some tougher opponents, including this week. We play someone who's kind of newer to the league. I don't know that I've ever played them before. My friend Heather. Uh, I know they were more of a VGC player traditionally and decided to try out our league last year when we did VGC and wanted to stick around for singles. So they have drafted a pretty scary team, which you can see now. They also made some changes. I want to say they had like Dio speed or something like that. They bounced a few things around, but anyways, they've got Walking Wake now. Obviously not a Sun team, but Walking Wake I think is still a threat. Water Dragon is just a great typing, especially if you don't have Freeze Dry or a great Fairy type, which I would argue I don't really have either of. It's got 109 base speed, good bulk, good special attack. It's got solid coverage between Water Dragon and Fire. It gets Flip Turn now. I think it also gets Knockoff. And you can run it, Spec Scarf. Hits really hard. Photosynthesis if you want to run Booster Energy to boost pretty much any of its stats. It's good. Next, Celesteela. This thing is like the bane of my existence. I hate this Pokemon. Mostly scarred from like season 3 or 4 of the draft league. I thought I ran some heat to beat Celesteela in playoffs. I brought Alolan Golem specifically for that matchup, and it did not win the 1v1 on like a damage roll or something like that. So tough. It's really good. Steel Flying is one of the best typings in the game. It hits super hard with Heavy Slam. It also gets like Air Slash, Flamethrower, Flash Cannon. Beast Boost is a crazy ability. It can, kind of spiral out of control if you let it. And then obviously the most common set, unfortunately, is like Leech Seed, Protect, Heavy Slam, sometimes Sub, just being really annoying. So we'll try to mitigate that. Speaking of annoyances, they also have Blissey, the special defensive wall. This thing, unfortunately, very good onto my team. That is definitely wants to hit a little more, especially, and very characteristically to myself. I don't have a fighting type after I dropped Chestnut, so Blissey I fully expect to come. All of the annoying things it does: soft boiled, stealth rocks, T-wave. It can run Calm Mind. Heavy Duty Boots is pretty common on it. And then obviously like Seismic Toss, so it actually gets chip and is not set up fodder. Ceruledge I used, I think, the very first Gen 9 season we did, and I think it's really cool. Fire Ghost type. Weak Armor ability allows it to take a hit and then boost its speed. It also gets things like Sword Stance. Bitter Blade is a really good signature move. Being I think it's like 90 base power physical fire type move that also heals. Obviously, it's got Poltergeist for that ghost type coverage. And it's also honestly pretty bulky, like good special defense. I think it's got like base 100 special defense or something like that. So again, pretty much expect that thing to come. Bisharp is the first of their 2 Eviolite users. Obviously, Bisharp was kind of an OU staple for a long time before King Gambit rolled around. It's not get knockoff still because King Gambit would be too good with knockoff. But with Eviolite, it's pretty bulky. It can, click Iron Head, Sword Stance, still gets Sucker Punch. Throat Chop, I think, is its move of choice since it doesn't get Kowtow Cleave like King Gambit. Dark Steel, good type, and Defiant, I guess, is the last thing to note there. With its ability, if I lower a stat, it gets a +2 attack buff. Next, Mega Beedrill. Mega Beedrill is a Mega I've always wanted to use. It is very weak to rocks, being a bug type Mega with obviously not being able to hold heavy duty boots. But what it lacks for in bulk, it makes up for in its adaptability, boosted 145 base speed. Poison Jab, U-Turn, Drill Run, Knockoff is kind of the set that you almost always run on Mega B. Super fast, hits super hard. that is that. Then we've got Hitmontop. Gets Intimidate. It gets Rapid Spin. This is kind of their only Rapid Spinner. But if you don't want to run the Rapid Spin set, you also have access to Technician, boosting things like Mach Punch. Hold on. I had to go let the dog out. And we don't do cuts here. Hitmontop also getting like Technician. I think it gets Mach Punch still and Bullet Punch. Obviously, can hit decently hard with close combat, just a strong move. And it gets Triple Axle, which is very good paired with Technician or Intim. We have Mesprit, probably the worst of Lake Trios, but still is that Levitate Psychic type. Gets Stealth Rocks, gets all sorts of utility and coverage moves. I'm not sure that I fully expect it to come, but we'll see. Gligar is really annoying. Eviolite, it does not have the healing prowess that Gliscor has because it does not have Toxic Heal. It still has immunity, so it can't be poisoned. Still, that ground flying type is very good. Earthquake, I think it only has like 75 base special attack, but it still gets like Earthquake, Knockoff, U-Turn, Spikes, Stealth Rot, kind of all the nuisance type stuff that Gliscor can do. So watch out for that. I fully expect that to come because that is their ground type against a Tapu Koko. And finally, they have Raichu, which I could also see making an appearance. 110 base speed, not super bulky, only like 100 base special attack, but has Lightning Rod, so it could eat up some hits if they decide to bring that. Now we will jump into my team. This week we were running physical Tapu Koko. Wild Charge U-Turn, I kind of thought was all I needed. Wild Charge hits really well into their whole team besides Gligar, which I can't really do a ton to besides Taunt and U-Turn anyway, so I decided Taunt, U-Turn, Roost was the way to go with that. Wild Charge is much better into Blissey and most Celesteela sets, kind of depends on how they build it. But again, I thought Taunt was really valuable. We were running enough speed to outspeed... we were running Adamant, so to outspeed Walking Wake, but there's enough of speed differential we can run max attack. And we'll see. Wild Charge isn't great. Obviously, physical electric type's kind of lacking for coverage there. But in case you didn't know, Tapu Koko actually has a much higher attack than special attack, so it does still hit pretty hard. Next we have Drifblim. This thing I think might be one of the only things on my team that has come every week. I think it might just be that and Coco because spoilers, Crown is not coming this week, shockingly. We're running another Unburdened set with Colbur. This is kind of my best check to Beedrill, and we're running some weird stuff this week. Decided to have a little fun with it. We're running Acrobatics, so if he procs Colbur with knockoff on Mega B, Acrobatics will one-shot Mega Beedrill. I have enough speed to outspeed max speed Beedrill. And then I'm also running Curse to try to, this is kind of my answer to Blissey, is to be able to Curse, T-Wave, and Strength Sap. Not like directly for Blissey, but to be able to heal up. Hopefully that thing can't do a ton back into me. Depends on, obviously, the set again. But Curse will cut my HP in half and then do a quarter to them every turn. I figured this was a good way to force them to pivot around a little bit. So we'll see how this works out. Strength Sap can heal me up so I could Curse multiple times. Decided to kind of have fun with that one. Same with Mega Blastoise here. We're running Water Pulse, Body Press, Rapid Spin, and Iron Defense. I thought having just a really bulky physical defensive mon this week was really good. I think, again, with Blissey, having Iron Defense is pretty nice into the Body Press. If I get +2, I should Oko Blissey. Solid check just to throw into like Hitmontop or Saraledge. So that is the Blastoise. Hydreigon, we're running some crazy stuff on this week. I thought if I could get a speed boost on Hydreigon, it hits really well into his team. But I was trying to find out the best way to do that, and I realized Hydreigon gets Scale Shot. So we are running Scale Shot Hydreigon with this crazy spread. I'm actually running Hasty, so minus defense nature. Figured that made sense with Scale Shot. their team is also more special. And then Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, and Nasty Plot. Dark Pulse, Flamethrower hits really well into their whole team. If they decide to bring Intim, Hitmontop, my Scale Shot being weakened doesn't hurt as bad. But I'm still getting most of those hits off with loaded dice, guaranteeing that I hit 4 to 5 times. If I hit 5 times on Walking Wake, I kill from full. If it's, like max speed, max special attack, Walking Wake. This thing can kind of do a lot of different stuff. It breaks through their team pretty well. This is kind of one of my late game answers, possibly once things have gotten some chip. The other we have Iron Moth to help try to break their team as well. Just dual stab, Toxic substitute. Toxic pretty good for Blissey or Saraledge, which are probably the 2 premier checks to this thing. We are running max speed, but to outspeed Walking Wake, but we will get a special attack buff under Electric Terrain. And finally, Ogrepon decided to run slightly more utility this week. We were running Ivy Cudgel, Knockoff, U-Turn, Spikes. I initially had SD Trailblaze set with this, but I thought the Trailblaze just isn't really that good into their team, and I thought Hazards was really nice. I looked it into running a Crunch Draco Hydreigon with Roost and Stealth Rocks. Decided that Spikes was probably just a little better here overall, being able to get more layers. So that... Oh, and I thought Knockoff is very good into their team. U-Turn to pivot out. So that is my squad for this week. We will go ahead and send this challenge here. Where are we versus boom? Challenge. Sent. Let them know. And we'll see. Obviously, kind of like I mentioned, we are 1-5 on the season, so I will give them good luck. GLHF. Copy that battle link. Both posted the link. Okay. So we get, there's Beedrill, that checks, Raichu, Steela, Blissey, Bisharp, no Walking Wake, which is kind of nice, and no Saraledge, okay, and no Hitmontop, so they cannot spin away hazards. Mega B lead is super common, which almost makes me want to just lead Driftblim, but I think I'm going to lead Ogrepon. Okay, and they go Gligar. I think we are just going to immediately knock off this thing's Eviolite. And he clicks Toxic. That's totally fine. They do not have hazard removal, so this is when I just click Spikes a few times. EQ does 35. I think I die to the next EQ plus. Let's see. I do die to the next EQ plus Toxic Chip. I think at this point I am going to just U-turn out. We'll go Hydreigon, I believe. Okay, oh. This thing gets defog. Well, that messes with my plan a little bit. I probably could have checked that, so glad I switched out. Gligar with no Eviolite. Depends on how bulky this thing is. I don't necessarily love taking a Toxic. I don't think I kill with Dark Pulse. Okay, they just go hard Bisharp. Oh, that crits. This is not the worst thing, though. With no Saraledge and no Walking Wake, Blastoise feels pretty good here. They go Low Kick. And they are Life Orb. Huh. I think we Mega. And do I think, is there Life Orb? Okay, so they're not. Bisharp. They are Life Orb. Into Mega Blastoise. Worst thing they can do to me is Throat Chop. Water Pulse should KO them here. Water Pulse hits pretty well into their whole squad. So I think I just click that. Okay, they sucker. Would have been cool to get an Iron Defense off, but this is mostly fine. They go Raichu. I do want to double check real quick. Does Raichu have a fairy move? Gets Alluring Voice and Play Rough. Okay. It would be really nice to get a spike back up with Ogerpon. I could see like a Volt Switch coming out here. Ogerpon on the Raichu. Say there. 252. It's like Volt Switch. Yeah, I think we go Ogre. Oh, and they just go Hard Focus Blast. Okay. That is their Raichu move of choice. Got it. Okay, well, with that said, that's fine. Again, not having Spike Up is not great, but we knocked off Gligar's Eviolite. They've got 2 flying types left. Blissey could very well be heavy duty boots, so that's not really the end of the world. There's a part of me that just wants to go Iron Moth and click sub here. So I think I'm going to try that. Do I just click Toxic? Can we? Yeah, let me just click Toxic. There's the Volt Switch. That's pretty okay with me. Okay, Gligar comes out here. Drinking all sorts of beverages. So they're Toxic, EQ, Defog. EQ seems pretty obvious here. So I think we just go back into Hydreigon. Okay, and they click Roost. That is not the end of the world, if I'm being honest. So it's Toxic EQ. I wish I had sub on this thing. That would be cool. What does more actually with my set real quick between Dark Pulse and this Gligar with no Eviolite? Dark Pulse definitely does more. I think we just Dark Pulse. Okay, this thing's very specially bulky. What does this thing do now? Like, it can just roost on me, sure. Yeah, it stays in. They roost. It's fine, though, because we get our plot off. I'm going to Dark Pulse again. Okay, they just go Raichu. Yeah, Raichu takes big shit from that. And I think here we go Hard Cocoa. Yeah, that's fine. We eat that. And we are going to just U-turn again. And I think this time is when we will go Blastoise, the big man, and click Water Pulse. Oh, we get the confusion. Huge. I think we're better off just clicking Body Press twice. Heal Bell. Interesting. That cures Raichu's. Poison. Steela comes in here. I think he brought a Steela set that outspeeds me. Possibly. They've really liked bringing Leech Seed Steela. Yeah, okay. Which is fine, I think. I can just rapid spin away seeds, I want to say. I believe that is how this works. Yep. Seeds go away. And we click Water Pulse again. Blastoise is in a pretty good spot now because it outspeeds their whole team. Steela comes out here again. They are lefties. If I let Blastoise go down, I'm a little worried about breaking Blissey, truthfully. I don't know what their other way to hit me, though, is besides just Leech Seed. Yeah, so I think we switch into Coco here on what I would guess is a Protect. Okay, it's a sub. Yeah, this is the annoying one. We taunt. Steel Roller hurts. But now we have Roost, and I think Steel Roller can't be used outside of terrain. This team is annoying. I kind of forgot the Gligar also gets Roost. I think we go Drifblim here, maybe. They do get the Toxic off. Mega B is setting up to be very scary here, which I don't love. There's a part of me that just wants to click Curse here because it's funny. So I'm going to do that because it's funny. And how much does Strength Sap heal with? Does it say potentially? Let's see, there's a chance that Acrobatics with an item kills here, which is like the chance to get Blissey out of the way seems really nice. They live on 2, which is tough. We'll see how much Strength Sap can heal me back. Oh, that does nothing. Okay. Yeah, that was tough. But the good part here is not much, frankly. However, we can get Mega Blastoise, I think, lives rocks. It's going to be close. Do I live on 1? Nope. Shoot. Lol. Yep, not gonna lie. Thought that I was gonna live that. Okay, well, I thought I was going to live that and get a rapid spin-off. Instead, we are going to go High Dragon, and we get our scale shot. We're not in a great position here. We definitely... I think we just got to go for flinch or crit. Nope, don't get it there. Good old toxic stall. At this point, I don't even 2-co. They've only clicked EQ once. Shoot. It is not looking great for you, boy. I click toxic again. I really need a flinch here is about my only way out. Please? Nope. A dragon goes down. I think Gligar is just going to stall me out of this game. Yeah. Yeah, because Moth is just going to come in. We'll see if Fiery Dance can do it. This team is very annoying to break. With Gliscor Light, it kind of just clipped Toxic into my team. Not a single flinch is tough, and it's is what it is. This thing was super bulky. I'm like, this is Eviolite has been gone this whole time. So, geez, that thing still does not live or still does not die. So, GG's to my opponent, Heather. Gligar is annoying. Gliscor was the reason I stopped playing OU like the minute I started playing OU back in Gen 5. So this thing still haunts me. What can you do? One more week till the season's over. It's a tough one, and thankfully the end of the season means the beginning of a new one. So thank y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all are enjoying, even though I am losing. Don't forget to comment if there's something you want to see me draft next season, because obviously electric terrain is not my forte. And with that, my name is ColeRocket21. Don't forget to comment, and subscribe. And as always, until we blast off on our next adventure, I'll see ya.